Hi there. Here's a quick introduction to Reiki, informal. Just want to cover a couple of quick points to give you a little bit of background in case you're interested in learning Reiki. I have a class starting tomorrow, and this video may be used in the future, so that date will probably change. But I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Tracy Cash. I've been practicing Reiki since 2003 and teaching since 2006. I have studied a few different types of Reiki. Usui Reiki, of course, is the first form of Reiki, and then Karuna Reiki, Reiki Sonics, Reiki drumming, and then other kinds of spiritual practices and traditions as well. I'm also a social worker with a background in Jungian psychology, working with children and adults, and in the medical setting. And Reiki's been a big part of my life ever since I learned it. And when I first learned, I knew that I wanted to complete all the levels and teach it because I see it as a very valuable tool in our lives as a spiritual practice, a healing practice, as well as something that we can use for others to support the people in our lives, either professionally or personally, to support their healing, stress reduction, their spiritual growth, those kinds of things. So what is Reiki? That's always the first question, and it's the hardest one to answer because it's such a nebulous and abstract kind of thing. So some people call it a spiritual healing practice, a stress reduction technique. It can be used to support and as a meditation. It also enhances meditation and anything else that we do. And it involves kind of the mystery of life, and everybody has a different definition of what that is. But the practitioner is considered to be a conduit of the energy. So from the metaphysical standpoint and the spiritual standpoint, we're taught that the Reiki flows through us and out our hands to benefit the person who's receiving Reiki. But some people say that it's already in us or it's all around us and we just tap into it. Everybody determines for themselves what that is exactly and how that works. Or some of us remain kind of skeptical. We don't know how it works, but we know that it does, and research shows that as well. But Reiki is a Japanese technique. So I'm going to stick with the facts. There's a lot of story and legend around the history of Reiki, where it comes from, how it was originally practiced. But some of that has been researched and verified, and some of it can't be verified or has not yet been verified. So just for the purposes of this short video, I'm going to stick with the facts. So we know that Reiki, the system that we use today, started in the early 1900s in Japan. Mikao Usui was the man who created it, founded it, and that was during a time in his life when he was dealing with a lot of stress. And he went on a meditation retreat at a temple on the mountain near his home. And after 21 days, he had an enlightenment experience. It's usually described as a big ball of light hitting him in the third eye. And he came back with this new insight, this new opportunity to support himself and others. And he developed this program. And it's continued to evolve, of course, but he created an organization that supported training and community gatherings, and that still exists today. And he taught the system that he was using. Shujiro Hayashi was one of his students, and he learned Reiki. He started teaching himself. He was a physician in the Navy in Japan, and he incorporated Reiki into his work. He created his own school and his own clinic, and helped use Reiki. And then one of the students that he taught, one of the people that he actually helped to heal, was Hawayo Takada, who was born to Japanese immigrants in Hawaii. And she was actually very sick. There's kind of a lot to that, but she ended up learning Reiki and teaching it, and that's how Reiki came to the West. So one of the unique features of Reiki is this lineage. So everybody, any teacher that you learn from today, you can trace back the history to Mikao Usui, the founder of this system. So that's pretty cool. So that's where it comes from. Oh, the word Reiki in general in Japan just refers to general healing. So they would refer to the system as Usui Reiki. And the word is divided into two parts, Rei and Ki. Rei refers to spirit or divinity. Ki refers to the life force in all things. Reiki can't do any harm because we're not manipulating the body. We're not asking anybody to ingest anything. We're not putting anything on the skin that would be absorbed into the bloodstream. So in those ways that it cannot do any harm. We're not using our own energy as the practitioner. In fact, as we share Reiki with others, we're actually receiving it for ourselves as well. So we end up feeling really refreshed. If anything else is happening, like a practitioner getting drained, it means that they're using their own energy or they're working with additional modalities. So a lot of teachers will bring in the chakras, for example, and use sound healing, use crystals, use other forms of energy work. The Reiki system itself is very basic. When we do a treatment, we simply place our hands in several different hand positions. These hand positions might vary if a practitioner is just using their intuition, and we might see them doing something else. But in the very basic form of Reiki, it's just several minutes in each hand position. And it can be touching the body or above the body. So if a person's not comfortable being touched, that's fine. It can still be very effective. A full treatment would be about an hour and a half, and that gives us a chance to talk a little bit before and after, make sure you're grounded when we're done, and for you to absorb the amount of Reiki that you're going to receive. But even just a few minutes or a few seconds of Reiki can be very beneficial. So the amount of time is really, it doesn't matter. It can still be beneficial. Benefits of Reiki. Reiki can support us in all areas of our life. So emotionally, it's very calming. It reduces stress. It helps people feel joy again and feel better about themselves, their lives, and their relationships. Helps people communicate better, helps us think more clearly. So it has been shown in the research to reduce anxiety and depression, which is great, and improve well-being overall. People also report that they notice they sleep better, they have better digestion. So that gets into some of the physical components of Reiki and how it can support our healing. So the way that I think about it is that Reiki supports our own ability and strengthens our own ability to heal ourselves. And one of the ways that it does that is by relaxing us. The spiritual energy, that's, nobody can tell us exactly how that works. So I'm not even going to try. But I can tell you that, there's lots of research, of course, that backs up meditation, stress reduction, those kinds of practices, and Reiki fits into all of that. So physically, people notice balancing of blood pressure and blood sugar, reduction in pain. That shows up in the research quite often. I've had people walk out of my office after a treatment and say, wow, that was amazing. My knee was hurting when I came in here and it feels so much better. Or even after just a couple of minutes, a coworker said that her headache was manageable enough to be able to go back to work and be able to focus and not be so distracted by the pain. I had another coworker who said that it reduced her restless legs symptoms. So it can do a lot for our bodies. I had a hospice patient tell me it was the only time during the day that he felt good. And he was so appreciative of that Reiki because it made him feel better. Cancer patients often experience reduced symptoms when they're receiving chemotherapy or radiation, for example. They have less hair loss, less nausea, better mood, so less depression, more energy. So it really can help support all of our processes. Spiritually, it can be a path to spiritual growth and healing, which has made a huge difference in so many lives, people who have learned Reiki or received Reiki in multiple sessions. The use of Reiki is cumulative, the benefits. So just like meditation, eating well, exercise, the more consistently we do it, the more benefit we see on a regular basis. And we can use it. So in a lot of ways, it works like prayer, and there have been studies that show that prayer can make a difference, can have an impact on others. For example, a study was done in Washington, D.C. that noticed the effect of prayer. There were several people, hundreds of people praying in the same area, and they noticed a 20% reduction of crime in that area, which is huge. It's tremendous for that area.